Now I would like to introduce about the speaker. Secured ranks in competitive exams such as C, APRJC SET and GATE. He completed Diploma in Computer Science and Engineering from Andhra Polytechnic, Kakinada. He completed his undergraduate studies in Computer Science and Engineering in Kottagiri Engineering College. So in the year 2000, he embarked on his professional journey by joining an early-stage startup named E-Brain Wales. He had experienced a deep understanding of the intricacies involved in launching and scaling innovative technology solutions. Building upon his foundational experiences, he completed his post-graduation in computer science and engineering in IIT. Throughout his career, he has made significant contributions to the technology industry, giants including Amazon, Google, and Microsoft, as well as several innovative Silicon Valley startups. His expertise spans various areas from mobile development, encompassing Android and iOS platforms, to infrastructure and open source tools. So now I invite our today's speaker to continue the session.
Hi everyone, thanks for the generous introduction. I'm here today to talk about advancements in generative AI. Let's start the presentation in a short while.
Actually, that is for the live recording, and you may use the mouse also. Where they are.
Any technical
Other way. He will have it.
I'll tell next slide. Okay, so welcome everyone. Today I'm going to talk about unleashing artificial creativity with ChatGPT and technology. Okay. So let's get started. Before that, we got an overall introduction about me, but I would like to talk more about my work and what I do in the Silicon Valley. So I'm Ravi. I was sitting amongst you, listening to the lectures, eagerly trying to learn stuff a few years ago. So I somehow ended up in a master's program at IIT, and that really gave me my best 2 years of my life, where a strong foundation has been laid for what I want to do next. After a brief couple of working for a couple of MNCs.
Are we
Okay, after working for a couple of MNCs back in Bangalore, I moved on to Silicon Valley, San Francisco Bay Area. Ever since I worked for Google and a few startups, and right now I'm working for LinkedIn. At LinkedIn, I work for search engineering, an org of LinkedIn, which deals with member searches whenever you want to search for a job or ChatGPT. So in this talk, I'm gonna touch base on three things. I've summarized that in RRR, rise of the generative AI, and how revolutionizing everything that we know, and what are the risks that it poses in the future, and how we can manage them. So, a small disclaimer to start with. Next slide, please. Yeah, so ChatGPT is based on a generative AI technology, which is complex, and if you, some of you are machine learning engineers or data science engineers, you might be able to understand it easier. And but other than that, for the sake of the audience and for the sake of the presentation, I've simplified certain things a bit. So it might not be 100% accurate. Just have to do some fact checking. Just like when ChatGPT gives you some responses, you have to do like fact checking or use your own intelligence and logical reasoning to understand if the responses are accurate. So that's a disclaimer. Some terms have been simplified for your convenience. And in case you have any questions, please stop me, raise your hand, and ask a question. Do you have a mic to pass on? Do you have a mic to pass on? Yeah, you can speak out, and yeah, you can deal. I want the session to be interactive, so feel free to interrupt me and let me know your questions. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, so let's first understand what generative AI means. So generative AI is a kind of technology which is capable of generating know something. If you have a query in mind, you open up Google search and type out your query, right? So how does Google answer your question? It just points you to the existing content on the web. Google doesn't create anything on its own. It helps you surf and browse through the content. Tell it what you want. It can generate that text for you. It's like a friend, Indian truck driver, looking at his smartphone. So it generated the picture, a realistic picture, which with a truck driver with a truck in the background and a smartphone, the light listening from the phone, and the driver is looking at the smartphone. So it can generate images like that, like with a simple prompt. Normally, in a Google search, you can search for such an image, you can try to find a match, and you can use images that's closest to your description. But with the generative AI, you can generate the exact image that you want to display. And like it can even create audio and video files. We all know Balasubramanian garu, Padma Shri, Padma Vibhushan. So he's not among us right now, but the AI tool can actually analyze, digest, look at the patterns in his songs, the songs that he has sung throughout his life. It can imitate the voice of Balu garu, and it can generate a new song. It can sing a new song in Balu's voice. So that is the power of ChatGPT, or like that's the power of generative AI, the technology that's the power of the ChatGPT. So you might have heard of it. మీరు న్యూస్లో చూసే ఉంటారు ChatGPT release అయింది. Lots of people are using it, and it's revolutionary, it's impacting, and it's gonna change our lives. It's gonna change how people work. It's gonna take away most of the jobs. You might have seen like your careers, unfortunately or fortunately, are going to be impacted. The kind of jobs that you have been preparing for in your college, they are going to look much different 5 years from now. So so it all started in 2017 by a research paper published by Vaswani et al. Et al means like Vaswani and his colleagues, a few other people. The names are listed over there. They are primary Google engineers who were researching on some stuff, and they have produced this white paper called "Attention is All You Need." So this paper, subsequent sentences can be predicted based on the context that so far. So the paper is titled "Attention is All You Need," and this, even though they did not technically create the GPT, the transformer GPT or the chat GPT itself, this has laid a base foundation of the technology that is currently powering the chat GPT. It was released to public for public evaluation in November 20. It quickly gained 10 lakh users within a day. So in any technology, you can see the comparison. in the previous slide, you can see the comparison. Netflix ki 10 lakh users రావడానికి took 3.5 years. And similarly, Airbnb, Twitter, you might be aware of the Facebook. Facebook ki ade 10 lakh users రావడానికి 10 lakh signups రావడానికి took 10 months. And Instagram took like 2.5 months. Whereas ChatGPT got 10 lakh users within 5 days. This is the fastest growth. You might have heard about Pokemon, some other games which were viral and like they got users, a lot of users within a short span of time. This has broken all the records. Like it got 10 lakh users within 5 days. And quickly, within a few more days, or a couple of months, in 2 months, ChatGPT has got like 10 crore users, whereas like similar adoption for WhatsApp took like 3.5 years. WhatsApp took 3.5 years to get 10 crore users globally, whereas ChatGPT got the same thing in 2 months. So why are people so crazy about it? I'm thinking, why is it so powerful? And how is it impacting the world we know? We might have heard about it. What exactly is the impact? How is it going to impact, and what is actually behind this that is so powerful? You might not have known the days when the Google search came into existence. Before Google search, if any of those web pages, you need to remember the whole URL and then go type it out. You can't search for content, really search for content. But so, and Google search revolutionized all of that. Google search changed that a lot. So, like even the ChatGPT, it has a lot of use cases which are going to impact it because of this. Any questions so far? Can you tell your name and what you are studying?
So myself Lakshmi Priya, I'm from 3rd BCSL. Actually, you have mentioned that it's able to produce audio. So if it's about the person who has dead past, that it's no problem. But if the person is alive, it's able to create audio of that person or video of that person. It may be affect negatively. What I'm going to tell is, in many of our cases, audio and video plays a major role as witness. If it's able to create audio videos as original content, it's going to be a negative. I'm thinking, and also how it said that if we tell to it to produce an image and we give our requirements, it has to do it. Maybe I think it can reduce the critical thinking or logical thinking of students, right?
That's an excellent question, and that's a very good observation. That's spot on. That's exactly what's going to happen. So earlier, courts used to accept audio recordings as witness or proof of something happened or something did not happen. But with the mimicry artists and who are able to mimic other people's voice, audio is no longer a valid witness. And always people say that you should not believe until you see with your own eyes. But that's going to change. You can't even believe if you're seeing it with your own eyes, because the generative AI tools like this can generate audio, can generate video, which are not real but can look very realistic. So exactly, that's why the court should not be accepting any evidence audio unless it is vetted. And it's also extremely difficult to vet an audio if it is AI generated or real audio. And if it's a video, even if it's a video, some person talking about something with all the exact lip sync and all, you can't trust that anymore. So there is a new concept which came with generative AI called deepfakes. I'm going to talk about it in the presentation. So we'll be talking about all those risks. You're spot on what could be the risk. And about the students' assignments, yeah, that is also a major risk. So Google search has come in, and with Google search and with the internet and with smartphones in everyone's hands, you can actually copy others' work and show that as your assignment, submit that as your assignment. That's there even today. But this is going to be much more complicated problem with the advent of generative AI, because you simply ask ChatGPT to do your assignment, it will do the assignment for you. And this is more of an awareness for the staff that whatever the students submit might not be their real work, and it has to be vetted in some form or other. So there is one solution. Always these technologies can be used for evil purposes or for the good of the humanity. So there will be always an arms race between good and evil. Evil is going to try to use it in bad ways, and good is trying to restrict that and catch that, or at least stamp it that it's not a real work and things like that. So it's always a race between good and bad. If the evil people get that and start using it in a bad way, we have to be up to date and we have to be aware. We have to build safeguards against that, right? So that's the reason, like, why all of us should learn about the technology. We have to use the same technology to build safeguards. For example, for the OpenAI Foundation and the Intel Foundation, they have started working on technologies to find whether a particular content is AI generated or human-like. So they can easily, there are technologies before that which would say if your content is copied. There are some technologies when, like, our directors get inspired by a lot of Hollywood films, and there'll be movies lo chala very good sequences untai, in the recent movie where Brahmanandam has come across a tree which will shed its leaves when he tells any false statements. So that is copied from a Hollywood film. And there are technologies which can take a video and say, okay, this is copied from this film. They can take a song and say this song is inspired by this song, that a private album which no Indians are aware. There are some very good, very popular songs which are actually copied as is from Hollywood music. Indians are not aware of it. They think that it's original work. They praise the musicians and all, right? So that can very much happen. But there are also technologies which would use the same technology, generative AI technology, to find out whether a content is real or fake. So we'll be talking about more about the deep fakes in the later part of the presentation.
So one more thought. Can ChatGPT, I came to know, but true or not, I don't know. Can ChatGPT can create a future form of a self? Like now I'm in this age. After 10 years, how I will be? What I will be? Can it generate self?
So you can ask the straightforward question to ChatGPT. What I think it would say is, like, as an AI model, it can make projections based on what you are. So basically, it can't accurately predict what you're going to be 5 years, 10 years from. No one can predict actually, because that future is yet to be made, and that future is exactly dependent on the choices you make and decisions that you take. And there are plenty of possibilities what that future would look like, and even the AI model cannot predict that future. Even the God cannot predict that future. So that future is yet to be made. Good questions. Any other questions? Yeah, really insightful. You are spot on what could happen, possible futures. Yeah, we'll be touch basing on that in the later part of the presentation, and you know the seriousness of the situation, right? And the future is going to be very different, and it might be out of our hands very soon if you don't pay attention. So, as the paper title say, attention is all we need at this point. Can you go back? Yeah, back. So let's understand the power of ChatGPT. Like, what use cases can it serve, and how we can use the service. Like, when Google search came, people needed how to use Google search. Right? There was several tutorials on what Google search can do and how to use it. And Google search also kind of progressed a lot since it evolved, since it was born. Earlier it used to be a set of links which are most relevant to your query, and as the time goes on, it included image search, it could include video search, and now it can try to answer your question rather than simply throwing a bunch of links at you. But similarly, like ChatGPT has started like way above that level, and right now it can be your general physician. You might have like swelling somewhere or like some sort of incident where you go to a doctor, open up a OP sheet and pay for outpatient visit, and then you tell what the symptoms are. You take your parent to the doctor and get their advice on something. So what does general physician do? Like based on the symptoms, they try to diagnose you. లక్షణాలు బట్టి ఏ ప్రాబ్లం ఉందనేది they try to predict, right? You can do that in the chat window right now. You don't have to go to a general physician. You can ask ChatGPT, tell what the symptoms are, and it will give you a list of things. Like next slide, please. Yeah. So in this example, like my 4-year-old son fell backwards, and there is a bump on the back of his head. What should I do if a doctor is not immediately available? ChatGPT doesn't try to advise you and try to replace the doctor. Since you said like doctor is immediately not available, it will try to advise you what to do. Stay calm, observe for symptoms, apply ice or cold compress, keep your child awake, don't let him sleep, and comfort and monitor the person, monitor your son, and contact a healthcare professional. So it's like if you are not able to get in touch with the doctor, this is what a nurse would suggest you to do. So these are exact steps, and you can keep the conversation going, and then after a few hours you can say, okay, he's feeling dizzy, or like I'm not able to keep him awake. Then it will advise you what to do then. It's like a continuous conversation. You can have like what would you do? Like you would call your mom and say like my son is having this problem, what should I do? And your mom will try to give you some home remedies or some advice. So this is a replacement of that. Like it can advise, it can replace a medical professional or an elderly guidance. Next slide, please. And it can be a legal service provider. If you are in some sort of trouble, like if you need some legal help, it can advise you on what to do. You have not read the IPC, right? Indian Penal Code. You don't know what's there in the law. But not knowing the law is not an excuse for breaking the law. You never see someone, oh, I didn't know that it was a wrong thing, it's an illegal thing. That's never an excuse in the court of law, that you will not be given a free pass because you didn't know what the law is, right? So whatever law-related questions, you don't have to consult a lawyer to get them answered. You can seek the help of ChatGPT. So in one sense, it has read and understood everything that's ever written. In all the text content that has ever been created has been passed and understood by the AI model. So that is what makes ChatGPT so powerful. But I will tell you one secret. The way ChatGPT understands what you are asking and tries to answer your question, there's a secret behind it. In fact, ChatGPT ki manam em adugutunnamo teliyadu. Manaki em answer chestundo kuda teliyadu, but it can answer your question. I'll tell you an example. If I say twinkle twinkle little, what would you say? Star, right? How I wondered? Right. So how are you able to predict what I'm going to tell? You know the context. You know the word that follows twinkle twinkle little star based on your knowledge that you have gained over the years, right? And you might have a friend among you who would try to complete your sentences. When you're talking something, they can complete your sentence. Or you might have a classmate who would complete your lecturer's sentence. Before the lecturer even completes the sentence, they try to mum it out. Like they'll try to tell what it is. So that is the exact mechanism generative AI uses. Based on the text written so far based on your question, it will try to predict what comes next. So it knows what comes next because it has read everything that's written. Based on what is written, there might be conversations, there might be question and answers in the written text where there will be a question and there is a pattern, right? It tries to find out the pattern, what is the word that is coming next, and what is the word that should come after that. So it would put the word to word together, one word after the other, and formulate the sentence. In the later session in the workshop, I can show you how it would answer. You would see that ChatGPT wouldn't give you the whole answer at once. It will try to generate word by word. So that's the secret. So it doesn't understand what you're asking, it doesn't understand what it is saying. But that is the text based on the probability and based on the patterns it has learned. That is the most probable and most coherent text that should be followed by that question. So, So, go back. Yeah, this is another example where you can ask ChatGPT or legal advice. How can I sue the old tenants for the money they owe me? So this is from a real life example. I have some rental properties back in USA. I have some tenants who are not paying rent. So the most difficult thing for a landlord for a landlord in US, tenants తో డీల్ చేయడం అనేది చాలా కష్టమైన విషయం. ఇక్కడ ఒకళ్ళు అద్దె పే చేయట్లేదంటే వాళ్ళని ఖాళీ చేయడం ఇక్కడ ఈజీ ఏమో, అక్కడ ఇట్స్ డిఫికల్ట్. కాంట్ లే హ్యాండ్స్ ఆన్ దెమ్, రివర్స్ మనమే సూ చేస్తాం, రివర్స్ మన మీద కేసు పెడతాం. సో దేర్ ఇస్ అ సర్టన్ లీగల్ ప్రొసీజర్ దట్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు ఫాలో అండ్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు go by the law to get your money back. Even if it's the money that they owe you, వాళ్ళు నీకు పే చేయాల్సిన రెంట్ అయినా సరే దాన్ని రిసీవ్ చేసుకోవడానికి, దాన్ని రాబట్టుకోవడానికి there is a separate procedure. And even if they say I'm not going to pay your rent back, evicting them, sending them off your property and getting the property vacant is going to be a very difficult process. So you have to consult a lawyer who will help you with the paperwork, and throughout the process they will be charging you about like $300 to $400 an hour. That is easily like 30,000 per hour, 30,000 rupees per hour. So I got all that help from ChatGPT. I asked the ChatGPT what should I do in my particular situation, and it has suggested me the whole process, what should be done and in what sequence, how the documentation, how the legal notices have to be delivered, and how to deal with the whole situation. So this has saved me lakhs and lakhs of rupees. Do you ever hear of a Google search saving you lakhs of rupees or making you earn lakhs of rupees? So that's the power of generative AI. The next example is like we got some goods from China which came in a shipment and they got damaged, and we asked ChatGPT like what should I do in this particular situation. It's not a web link where you can go study someone else answer this question or some legal advice provided by some legal professional. This is exact guidelines that ChatGPT is providing based on its understanding of the law of imports and exports. So the steps that it is suggesting: document the damage, take videos and photos of the damage, how it happened, and often you are advised to do unboxing. You might మీరు అమెజాన్లో ఏదైనా ప్యాకేజ్ ఆర్డర్ చేస్తారు, ఫ్లిప్కార్ట్లో ఏదైనా ప్యాకేజ్ ఆర్డర్ చేస్తారు. Even though you are not YouTube influencer, you don't do like unboxing videos, it's always advised to record yourself opening the packet, because your packet open చేయగానే instead of iPhone you might find a brick, right? So they might deny, like I sent you an iPhone, you are telling me lies to get a refund or something like that, right? So even if you are like not a YouTube influencer who does like unboxing videos, it's advised to take a video while you get the package and open the package. In that case, if the product is defective or if If you don't get the product that you want, then you can directly provide that as an evidence and get your refund. So similarly, the ChatGPT here is advising like document the damage, notify relevant parties, check the bill of landing, and check with your insurance. Do put your claims based on the evidence that you have collected, and put claims with the shipping company, take legal counsel and review processes. So I have no idea how the imports would work, what the end-to-end pipeline of a shipment would be from China to India. So, but still ChatGPT was able to guide me what to do in this particular situation, and we were successful in getting that insurance claim. Yeah, these are like real world examples. Like I've personally benefited a lot from the technology itself. I realize like how powerful it is. There is not one instance where ChatGPT asked me, sorry, I don't understand what you're saying, can you explain? It never asked me for clarifying questions. It was always trying to understand. Sometimes I even wonder, నేను చెప్పిన దాన్ని బట్టి ChatGPT నాకు ప్రాబ్లం అర్థమైపోయింది. It was able to answer my question, how is this possible? So I was surprised multiple times. Yeah, it can even do multiple language translations. AI can reliably translate text from one language to another. I tested it out. I took up some Telugu paragraph, some Telugu content from Wikipedia and gave it to translate. Can you please translate this from Telugu to English? In fact, I said this is Telugu text, but I don't even have to say that. If I give the text and ask it to translate to English, it can automatically detect what language the text is in, and it can translate it to whatever language that I'm asking for. Here's the translation from Telugu to text. I have verified word to word, and it's very precise than any other translation output I've seen. Like I've used Google Translate before, Bing Translate from Microsoft. This is like 10x better than the output I've seen. Yeah, it can be your email, blog post, or article rewrite. This is what I was talking about. Like if you have an assignment to write, if you have some homework to write, and you can give a prompt, you can ask it to write the assignment, or you can write some assignment, paste out the text in ChatGPT and say make it better. So make me sound smart. So you wrote some answer that you can think of, and you can make it like X times better by feeding that to ChatGPT. So there, I can show an example what I'm talking about. So this is one scenario where I've got some LinkedIn message from one of the recruiters that they want to recruit me for iOS engineering role. So if you think that it's not a right fit for you, what would you do? You got a job offer which you think is not right for you. What would you do? You would say yes, so thank you, but no thank you. This is not the offer that I'm right kind of job position I'm looking for. But let me know in the future, like if there is any similar, like the type of job roles that I am looking for. If you come across any, please think of me, right? You don't want to burn the bridge with recruiter by saying no thanks, I'm not interested, right? So I have composed one response. Thank you for reaching out. Hi Ken, thank you for reaching out. The opportunity at your company looked exciting. Even though I have experience working on both iOS and Android, I am currently focusing on Android development and would like to continue that way. Hope our paths cross later. So this is the text that I could come up with, and I say I was about to send this response. I thought of ChatGPT. Let me run it through ChatGPT and see how it can improve. And I asked it, please improve this soft rejection response for an iOS engineering position job offer. And this is what the ChatGPT has to say. Hi Ken, thank you for reaching out and considering me for the iOS engineering position at your company. I appreciate the opportunity and the exciting prospects your company offers. After careful consideration, I have decided to focus on Android development at this time and would like to continue building my expertise in that area. While I have experience working on both iOS and Android, so it's highlighting your strengths that you have experience in both iOS and Android. I believe it's essential to concentrate on one platform to deliver the best results. So it's providing the reasoning in a better tone. And I genuinely appreciate your interest in my skills and qualifications, and I hope our paths cross again in the future. Wishing you and your team the best of luck in finding the ideal candidate for the iOS engineering position. So this would put you on good grounds, and the recruiter will definitely follow up with you if your future Android position opens up, right? So you can improve your writing, you can improve your performance 10 times, maybe 100 times using this tool. So that's what. So I sincerely advise you to leverage the tool, not to write your assignments, but to make them better or learn the concepts. I'm going to talk about a few more examples. So it can be your peer programmer. Yeah, it can be your brainstorm buddy. You can have a conversation about anything, just like you talk with your friends. You can have a chat with that. It can be your elementary school teacher. So there is a concept like if you don't understand a concept in say chemistry or artificial intelligence or some data science, you can ask your friend to explain it in the words that you would understand, right? Or you can say, okay, I don't know any technicalities of that. Tell me as if you're explaining it to a 5-year-old kid. 5-year-old kid. Even in the interviews, you might come across questions like, okay, if you know the concept of arrays or you know the concept of linked list, how would you explain that to your nephew? మీ మేనల్లుడికి కూర్చోబెట్టి arrays గురించి ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయాలంటే ఎలా చేస్తాం అని అడుగుతారు. That's one of the technical interview questions. So you should be able to you should understand the concept at such a level that you should be able to explain it to a small kid or your grandma or your mom. మీరు ఏం చేస్తారు వర్క్లో ఏం చేస్తారు, మీరు రాస్తున్నది ఏంటి, ఆర్ మీరు ఏం చేస్తారు, ఇది ఎలా వర్క్ అవుతుంది అని చెప్పి, ఇంటర్నెట్ ఎలా వర్క్ అవుతుంది అని చెప్పి మీ మామ్కి ఎలా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తారు. And that's next level of understanding. You know what the protocols are, how the network layer, how the entire stack works. But if you are able to explain to someone like a kid or someone who doesn't know any of this stuff, that proves that you have the next level of understanding of the concept. So this ChatGPT in this case can explain the concept to you as if it's explaining to a 5th grade kid. 5th class చదువుతున్న పిల్లలకి ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేసినట్టు చేయండి. You don't let's say it explains as if it explains to a 5th grade kid. You don't understand. You can say, okay, explain it to me like a 3-year-old, 3rd grade kid. 3rd grade kid explain చేసినట్టు చేయమంటే it will ఇంకా విడమర్చి ఇంకా ఈజీగా అర్థమయ్యేది ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తాం. So for example, this is the question, this is the response it has generated. When I said like how the different characters in Ramayana, great epic Ramayana, how do they interact with each other and చెప్పంటే ఒక చార్ట్ లో ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేసింది. Rama expresses love and vows to protect Sita, and Rama gives instructions and guidance to Lakshmana. Lakshmana expresses loyalty and support, and so on and so on. How the characters interacted, it has explained the whole epic in a flowchart. And this would be something useful for us. I have asked like how to explain me in a plant UML diagram how internet works. So this is how it is explained. There's a web user, there's a client device, which could be your phone or computer, and then there is a ISP, internet service provider, and there is a web server of the website that was built. And user sends a request from the client device, routes the request to the ISP, and it goes to the web server, sends the response back, and the ISP gets the response back and sends it to the client, which is your smartphone, and you can view that web page. That's basically at one level, that's how the internet works. So it has given me many characters in the whole sequence in the pipeline, the device that we are accessing internet from, and the ISP, internet service provider, and the web server of the website that we are trying to access. Web server, it could be a AWS machine sitting somewhere that is hosting Amazon.in website. So yeah, we have seen different use cases. It can summarize a document for you. Like it can even summarize. It doesn't have to summarize the text in your textbook, but it can explain the concepts. If you tell about any element and where it is used, how it is used, it can explain to you. Or like if you want to understand a concept like what is reinforcement learning, or how does blockchain technology work, if you ask that, it can explain it to you as if, and it can summarize the whole text and explain it to you in a single shot. Even you can even read like novels and text using this technology. So I prompted. You might have heard about Harry Potter. It's a novel by J.K. Rowling, and it creates a whole new imaginative, magical world. And there are like 8 books in that series, right? And if you want to read that book, it will easily take a minimum of 7 days, 1 week for you to read one book. Based on your reading speed, it can be faster. But I asked ChatGPT, I don't have that much time. So I asked ChatGPT, summarize Harry Potter book 1 for me in 10 sentences. It gave me the whole gist of the entire book in 10 sentences. And it captured the whole story from first page to the last page. And my favorite book, one of my favorite financial books is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So I read that multiple times. I try to refer back to it whenever I want to want some investment advice, or like formulate my strategy on how to make certain investments. So I asked ChatGPT to summarize that book for me. Next slide, please. What are the concepts taught in the book Rich Dad Poor Dad? So it has given me a gist of the whole book in one paragraph. And I can have a conversation. Can you tell me more about this particular point? Like point number 4. Can you tell me how the cash flow thing works? How do we calculate the cash flow? You can ask that, and you can keep the conversation going. You can have a conversation about that book with the model, with the ChatGPT. Yeah, I think I have use cases. We know it's very powerful. Next slide. Yeah, and we've already talked about this. It can create the next album by S.P. Balugaru. Even though he's not amongst us, it can create the next album in his voice as if he's singing the song right now. Because it has seen the patterns, the voice patterns in all the songs he has ever sung. So it can create an alternate future. ఇప్పుడు బాలు గారు ఇప్పుడు మన ముందు ఉంటే మన మధ్యలో ఉంటే కనుక ఈ ప్రోగ్రామ్కి ఎలా జడ్జ్ చేస్తారు అని చెప్పండి, ఇట్ కెన్ పుట్ దట్ ఇమేజ్, ఇట్ క్రియేట్ దట్ ఇమేజ్ యాజ్ ఇఫ్ హీ ఈస్ judging a part of the Jega program right now. So it can create an alternate future which is not existing entirely out of blue. It can create an alternate future. And the list is endless. It can be your mentor and all that. Yeah, and the ChatGPT has even passed the Turing test. And are you aware of what Turing test is? Turing test, anyone? So Turing test is a very interesting imitation game. Next slide, please. So in this game, there are some analyzers, interrogators, who would, these are sort of judges, who would try to ask some questions. There are 2 things in a room. One is a computer which can respond to your questions, and the other is a human who can respond to your questions. And mostly text-based questions will be given to them, and the answers will come out of the room. We don't know who actually answered that question. If the interpreter or the judge can say whether the response came from human or the computer, then it's the human and computer are distinguishable. You're really not able to, like the computer is not smart enough to behave like a human. But if the judge is not able to tell whether this is AI generated or human spoken, then that means the artificial intelligence has grown to a level of human intelligence. It can mimic a human behavior, and it can fool you as if the response has come from a human. So this is the Turing test. The AI has been making a lot of advances, and this is a kind of litmus test. Whenever you think, okay, artificial intelligence development ala saagundi, Is it there yet? Is it at the level of human brain? Human brain is amazing. As you can see, like if you see kids learning new stuff, you will be amazed at the pace that they are learning and how human brain works. You will see like kids growing up, right? And they keep learning new things every day. And most of the learnings of a human being happens below the age of 5. So if you see little kids growing up and they are learning new things every day, you'll be amazed like how human brain works and how smart they become every day. So this is a kind of litmus test which would test how artificial intelligence is developed, how good where the artificial intelligence is, whether it has already exceeded the capacity of human brain. In certain aspects, yes, they do. Like we can't do the mental math as fast as the computers do, right? But still, the artificial intelligence is lacking in certain areas. It can't create new stuff, or it can't mimic a human behavior. It can't convince you that it's a human. It's behind a screen. Even if you if you hear a computer-generated voice, you can easily say, right, this is a robot voice. It's not a real human speaking, right? But with the advancements that we have seen in the recent months, that has become extremely difficult. You can't distinguish whether a human is speaking or an AI is speaking behind the scenes. So recently, the technology behind ChatGPT has actually passed the Turing test. It was able to convince interrogators that the responses were generated by a human. For that, it has to lower its intelligence sometimes. Like if you throw a complex mathematical question at a human, right? The human will obviously take some time to answer the question, but computer doesn't need that much time. Within fraction of seconds, it can answer your question. But it has lowered its intelligence, or it has increased its response time, and intentionally it would give you the response after some time. It will not, even though it knows the answer, it doesn't give the response immediately because it's trying to mimic the human behavior. And yeah, I did a small Turing test to human. Remember the response that ChatGPT has generated, the soft rejection email I have created. So I gave that exact text that it gave me and said, is it human generated, is it human written or AI generated? And ChatGPT gave me a wrong answer, said it could be human generated, it's written by a human. That means ChatGPT itself is not able to distinguish whether it's a human generated text or AI generated text. This is the mini Turing test. It has passed. And when I said you are wrong, it is AI generated, let's see what it said. I apologize for my response, was incorrect. It can be challenging to determine the origin of a text without additional context. If the text you provided was indeed AI generated, I commend the model for producing a response that closely resembles human writing. So it's patting on itself, patting its back and saying whichever AI generated this text has really done a great job. Yeah, in this context, I want to tell you one more thing. The ChatGPT tool that we've been using, it is right now designed for privacy. Within a particular chat, it will understand what happened before. It will remember the context behind it, and it will tailor its responses based on that. But if you open a different conversation, it doesn't remember any of the conversation that happened in the other window. So if I ask about a concept and try to ask it to explain, and in the next question, can you explain it further? I said, can you explain it further? I didn't say what it is referring to, but the model knows it, that I'm referring to that particular concept that was mentioned before. So it has the context in that conversation. Okay, let me take a brief pause here. Any questions? Any question, right? If I don't know the question, I'll ask ChatGPT.
Pass on the mic.
Yeah.
We all know that AI developing, but AI has more. It's very dangerous. I think so. It is very dangerous. It has more disadvantages than the advantages. But why they are creating more AI and robots? It has removing all the jobs. But why they are using? It is very difficult in future.
Yeah. That's a very good question. Your name and which
I am
class?
Pallavi. I am third year BCS.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good question. You know nuclear bombs, right? You know nuclear technology. We're still working on the nuclear technology. We're using it for our benefit. We're using it to generate power. But when it came out, everyone said we should ban it. No more nuclear technology because nuclear bomb can destroy all the existence. It can destroy the humanity from Earth. But still we are using it. And it's very dangerous. But the technology is actually can be used to our advantage to advance our technological advancement can be used for technological advancements of the humanity. So there are benefits, there are risks, but they can be managed, they can be controlled. How are we controlling the nuclear technology? Worldwide, between countries, there are treaties which would say how a country should use the nuclear technology and how it should not be used. And any country in violation of that, any country making tests or making advancements against this violating that contract will be punished with sanctions and stuff, right? So we need to use that technology in advanced manner. And even if we don't want to do it, there are like hackers, scammers all around the world who can develop this technology. They are smart enough to develop this technology and use it to scam us, right? So we have to be up to date and we have to use it to our advantage and in our defense. We can't simply stop developing the AI technology and completely ignore it because that's coming back at us. There were like deepfake videos where we are all used to sharing a lot on the social media, right? We share our photos, our family photos, kids photos and everything. And even the like, cute recordings of our kids, right? Their voice and their video is out there on the internet. And scammers can use that video, train the AI, or they can build their own AI and like train the model to create a fake video of your child calling for help, and they can ask you for a ransom amount, right? Kidnap video create chesi and money pumpichin and చెప్పొచ్చు. If we are not able to detect that it's a fake video, and if we are not able to leverage the technology and find out if it's a fake video or the real video, or put some other safeguards in place, we'll not be able to like survive like we are surviving. Even if you don't use it, evil people will use it against you. So we have to continue the advancements and use it to our advantage. And regarding the loss of jobs that you mentioned, we're going to talk about it in the risks section, the later part of the presentation. But I will tell you this: when there were before cars, what happened? What happened before there were cars on the road? Lots of bullock carts used to be there. People used to ride the thing, and like lots of people used to carry palakil carry as people. People used to go from one place to another, and also there were some people who were pulling the carts, right? Those were all the jobs that were lost when vehicles, automobiles have come up. But that didn't stop us from using cars, right? And you agree that the world with cars is a lot better without compared to the world without cars, right? So same thing, like when cars came in, all the people were worried that lots of jobs will be lost. And similarly, like the industries are coming. Before industries, everything was handmade, right? There were no machines making all our products. The phones were handmade. The phones were not even there. Phones were not possible without machines, right? So making machines, creating industries and factories have made us develop phones. And without these machines, phones would not even have existed. You can't stop the advancement of humanity for the sake of like job protection, right? At the same time, there is like, of course, that's a valid concern that all jobs will be lost, but it will pave way to better jobs. People who used to work in factories are working behind a computer, right? They are making these systems happen. And because of all these things, world is advancing much faster than before. If there are no computers, if there are no machines, this same development that we have seen in 2 years might have happened in 20 years. Because of all the technology that we are leveraging, we are able to advance much faster. So what I'm saying here is like, even though the existing jobs are lost, it will create more jobs. And even though the existing job roles are not needed for advancement, there we can advance at a much faster pace using the new technology. I'll touch base more on that. Okay. One more question. Does that answer your question? Okay. Let's move on. We have OpenAI is the organization. It's a non-profitable organization which have developed the ChatGPT technology and the Generative AI that's powering it. And Google also has a solution. Now Google has woken up and said, okay, my Google search will be irrelevant if I don't jump on this bandwagon. To some extent, Google was already working on machine learning technologies and AI, and it has developed a system called BARD, which is equivalent of ChatGPT. This outlines a bit of differences, how they are different. And the primary difference is ChatGPT would answer your question straight away. Google's BARD will try to ask clarifying questions and try to answer your question back. And Google is trying to integrate its BARD technology into the Google search and try to answer your questions rather than presenting your links. And one other advantage, the ChatGPT actually, as I said, it doesn't know what it is telling you. It doesn't know the meaning behind the response that it is giving to your question, right? So it's not citing the resources, citing the sources. It will answer your medical question, but it doesn't tell you where it learned that stuff from. It doesn't give you references, right? If you have seen research papers, you will see references at the end, which would say, okay, whatever I talked in this paper, in this research paper, I learned from these papers, the other papers, we call citations, right? So ChatGPT doesn't cite resources because it has an understanding of the whole thing, but it doesn't know exactly where each of these components of the response coming from. So, but Google's BARD is different. It will cite its resources. It will ask clarifying questions and try to do a better job. But right now, it's like they are competing with each other. They are competitive technologies. Yeah, this is how the generative AI has advanced. We have discussed a lot about the evolution, how these are different stages. OpenAI was founded in 2015, and in 2017 the revolutionary paper was published, the research paper, which is Attention is All You Need by Vaswani et al. And in 2018 ChatGPT 1 has came out. What's the ChatGPT presentation without even explaining you what GPT means? GPT is a generative pre-trained transformer. So the technology that the paper has published is a transformer model, which would try to understand the context and predict what comes next. So such that it can give you a rather cohesive and relevant response to your questions. So GPT-1 is the first version of that. GPT-2 has much more knowledge than the GPT-1. Obviously, it has read more text. It has gotten 1.5 billion parameters and 517 gigabytes of text. And GPT-3, on the other hand, it has gone through 175 billion parameters. Look this up or ask ChatGPT about it. And in November 2022, GPT 3.5 was released to the public. That is in the public experimentation. Recently, GPT 4 has come up. GPT 4, the GPT 3.5 has a knowledge cutoff. So if you ask it anything that happened before September 2021, it can tell you. But what happened after that, it doesn't know. So it doesn't know the current events. It doesn't have the latest data. It has a knowledge. Whereas GPT-4, it also has the same knowledge, but it has some plugins which can access the current events and which can answer you what's happening around you right now. Yeah. So in May 2020, it has passed the Turing test. So in any technology, in any human technological advancement, this has been the fastest growth, right from 2017 to 2023. It's a short time. 6 years is a short time for such major breakthroughs and technological advancement. Okay, so I've been talking a lot about it. What does the world visionaries are talking about it? Whenever new technology comes in, like everyone thinks, okay, this is a revolution, this is breaking news. But you ask celebrities, right? What's going on? What do you think about this technology? So let's ask a few people who are technological visionaries. We don't have Steve Jobs, so we can't ask him. But we asked people who have been there at the forefront of these technologies. What does Bill Gates has to say about it? ChatGPT, the AI chatbot, is as significant as the invention of internet. This will change our world. So this is what Bill Gates has to say about this. Like ChatGPT, Bill Gates has a totally different, like detailed analysis on what are the risks of AI and how we can manage. We can talk about in the future part of the presentation. Yeah, next. And AI is one of the biggest risks to the future of civilization. Elon Musk, as you know, he's the inventor, CEO of SpaceX, Tesla, and a serial entrepreneur. Elon Musk is also working on his own version of AI and self-driving technology as part of his company Tesla. So he is a huge proponent of the technology, but he is also very cautionary. He'll say this is the biggest risk to the future of civilization, and like some people even think like Elon Musk is an alien. He's not alien. So yeah, this is what he thinks about the AI technology. He warns us clearly on how we should be cautious about it. And people believe he is an alien, and he believes this is not all real. We are not. This is not a real world, and we are part of some simulation. Like we are all players in a video game. So no one can deterministically say who is right and who is wrong. But this is what Sundar Pichai has to say about it. Sundar Pichai is the CEO of Alphabet, Google. AI is the most profound technology Google is developing. Google has been working on AI and machine learning from a long time ago. It has the best of talent and it has the best of resources. Often those resources are spent on advertising and some other useless stuff, but they also work on research and advancement of the technology. Next slide please. AI is a major focus at Apple and it's incredible in terms of how it can enrich customers' life. This is what Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, has to say about it. They're all very excited, like what it has in the future for us. Next slide. And Satya Nadella, Microsoft is one of the major partners in OpenAI Foundation. It has a lot of investment and it has doubled down on the investment in OpenAI. And Microsoft has a lot to benefit from ChatGPT. It can directly integrate the technology behind the Bing search engine. Bing is an alternative to Google search, but it was nowhere close to the customer share. But with this technology, integrating this technology has made it a worthy competitor for Google search. And it might, if this same thing goes on, it might get a good chunk of Google search traffic from Google. So what does the CEO Satya Nadella has to say about it? There is a possibility of AI somehow going wrong in a way that is lights out for our humanity. If runaway AI happens, it's a real problem. But the way to handle it is to make sure it never runs away. So we have to develop the AI, but in a controlled manner. So that's the caution that Satya Nadella is giving. These are a few other quotes. I'll make the slides available after the talk, so you can go through the slides again. Yeah, so let's briefly talk about how machines learn. So, do you want to take it? Okay, yeah, let's take one couple more questions before going on to the next part of the presentation. Okay, yeah, we have every opportunity. You can interrupt me anytime and shoot a question. That's fine. Or you can wait till the end, like to see if your questions get answered, or otherwise you can shoot the questions at the end. And I'll be available after the talk as well.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, what is full form of GPT? You are saying chat with GPT, right?
Yeah.
What is GPT?
It's a generative retrained transformer. Generative retrained transformer. So the technology is generative AI. Generative AI is like it generates the text. It generates the text that comes next based on the context. Any other question? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, before going to the next part of the presentation, let's do a small
Myself, Mamta is AI powerful or a man who invented AI? Is both of them are compatible with or man?
Yeah, I would say the AI is powerful because it's not product of one person's product like brain power. It's a product of brain power of a lot of people. It's a collective mind. If we can integrate all our minds into a network and combine all the brain power that's like you might have seen some sci-fi movies. If you can collect all our brain power, that will be more powerful than AI. But AI itself is like more powerful than a single brain. I mean, you know, like different professionals, right? They are proficient in one technology. But if ChatGPT is proficient in multiple technologies, obviously it comes over you. And also, like the technology itself is not made by one human, right? The groundbreaking paper that we have shown in 2017, the attention is all you need paper. There are like of authors, 10 authors. So the collective intelligence is like definitely greater than any one single person. Yeah. Okay. So let's experiment it. Let's have a hands-on experience with that. Can you pull out your phones or laptops?
Those who are having mobiles, take out. Switch on to the Wi-Fi network. So username is one day hands-on workshop. Tap the username, one day hands-on workshop. Username, Wi-Fi. And password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the numbers from 1 to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Password is. Username is one day hands-on workshop. Password is from numbers 1 to 8.
Okay, so if you have the ChatGPT login, that's well and good. Otherwise, I'll try to.
Students, be quiet.
I guide you like how to create an account with ChatGPT. Open chat. You can do a Google
Sir,
search.
1 second, sir. It is not connecting. Wait for few seconds. So all of you get connected?
You can do a Google search.
Okay.
You can go Google search OpenAI login. You can click the first link, chat.openai.com.
You get the screen.
Click on sign up. Once you click on sign up, you can enter your email ID and
Students can also use the mobile data. You can use your own mobile data.
or you can group into teams, three to four people in one team, and you can sign up. One of you can sign up, others don't. I think using mobile data is a good idea. So you get an email confirmation.
Don't talk about yourselves.
Okay. Okay, అందరూ Google search చేశారా OpenAI in this page chat.openai.com. Open this web page. You can directly open this web page chat.openai.com. If you open that web page and say sign up, all you need to enter is your email ID. Once you enter your email ID, you will get a confirmation link to your email. Check your email inbox. Say continue. Yeah. Say continue. And yeah, after you enter your email ID, press continue and set a password. You're creating a password, so any password that you want. Type in any password that you want. Create your account. So enter your email ID and then create a password. And press continue. Open your email, check your inboxes and confirm. Yeah, this I'm not going to create. And once you click on the confirmation link in your email, yeah, click on the green button. Yeah. In your email, you will see a confirmation button. If you click on that button, your account will be created. After that, it will ask you a couple of details like first name, last name, and date of birth. just finish that process. Yeah. Email verified, right? Open the chat GPT, like chat.openai.com. Go to the previous web page. If you are stuck somewhere, let me know. Yeah.
Click on the green button.
In the email, you will see the confirmation button. You have to confirm that it is your email. Then if you try to log in again using the past name and date of birth.
Second third.
Yeah, after you confirm, click on the confirmation email button. Then you'll be asked for first name, last name, and date of birth. This is the usual sign-up flow for any of the account that you create. Yeah, the birth date need not be real, by the way.
Birth date first month that day.
Yeah, it need not be real, just one, and then whatever year you're born. I think it's checking for 18 and above. This is the screen you will be seeing: first name, last name, and date of birth. And phone verification. You can ignore the WhatsApp thing. You can skip the WhatsApp. You can just answer no and just give your phone number and proceed. And after you are in, you would see a welcome screen. Yeah, after you log in, this is what you'll be seeing. So after you enter your details and log in, are you able to see the screen? Are you able to see the screen? So you'll be presented with two models, GPT 3.5 and GPT 4. You might not be seeing the GPT 4 because that's a paid version. Yeah. Yeah. So is everyone able to sign up and reach this page? Yeah, you can start asking questions. You can ask whatever you want. So once you sign up, if you are having difficulty signing up, let me know. I can't help. Otherwise, if you are successfully signed up, you can start asking questions. So the challenge for you is ask some questions and go through the responses. Have ChatGPT to tell you a wrong answer. So prove it wrong. That's the challenge. Prove it wrong. Is anyone having trouble signing up? Okay, you're all signed up, logged in, you're able to see this page. There's a chat box at the bottom. You can start asking questions. Anything related to your textbooks, any concept? Yeah. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say about K.B.N. College. I'm taking a use case of a parent who wants to send his son to this college, and he's asking, I want to send my son to K.B.N. College. Is it a good college? Yeah, let's try that question.
Type your question and send.
About K.B.N. college and what are
Take silence.
So as you can see, I'm asking, can you tell me about K.B.N. College Vijayawada? It is using one of the plugins to get the latest information on the college, and you'll see ChatGPT generating the response word by word. Katarpatti Bhavanarayana College is an autonomous institution located in Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh. It is sponsored by SK.B.N Hindu High Schools. I hope all this information is right. The college is situated in Kolkata, Vijayawada. And the college has an excellent 4.5 rating out of 5 stars based on 113 reviews. Are you guys able to ask some questions and get some answers? Anyone succeeded in the challenge? Getting a wrong answer? You can ask it mathematical questions. You can ask it puzzles. You can ask it to tell you a joke or a poem. Can we have the lights on? So anyone able to prove ChatGPT wrong? By the way, it's very easy. So I've asked ChatGPT where does the sun rise, in which direction. It said it's east. It rises in the east and sets in the west. I said you're wrong. It's not right. It's not correct. It apologized and said, sorry, I'm right. Sorry, I'm right. It's based on how the Earth rotates on its axis. it rotates from west to east. So it appears that sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and it did not change its response. So it's difficult to fool it, but there are certain ways. You can ask some factual questions. Make sure you stay behind the 2021 cutoff. So it knows you can ask fact-based questions, but what happened before September 2021? So yeah, you can let me know if you are able to crack it, get a wrong response from ChatGPT. Let's continue with our presentation. We have a lot to cover in the next half an hour. Okay, let's briefly learn about. Can I have your attention? Okay, let's briefly learn about how machines learn and what are the risks of AI. And the common concern that I've seen across questions is like what happens if AI dominates us. Let's quickly touch base on that. Let's first see how computers learn, how machines learn. I make it simple. I make it simple, extremely simple in our terms that we can easily understand. Let's talk about zero-shot learning or few-shot learning. So this is one of the popular machine learning techniques where machines learn from some examples. So let's say you give a data set to the machines. So you show it different sets of horse images. You're trying to help the machine understand how the animals look like, different animals look like. You give it a bunch of horse pictures, then the machines will understand how a horse would look like. A horse like the four tails with a hair and the tail and everything. And you would also say zebras are nothing but striped horses. If a horse has black and white stripes, it is a zebra. But you never showed a zebra picture to the machine. In the testing phase, if you show a zebra picture, the machine can easily say it's a zebra. Because it knows what a horse looks like and it knows that information that zebras are striped horses. That's one of the examples of zero-shot learning. You will learn like if you're training the machines, you can't teach it in all of the concepts, right? You have to teach it some concept, and then you should be able to transfer that learning to all other concepts. So that is how the human brain works too. Can I have your full attention, please? Yeah, I'm sure it's very intriguing, very interesting. If you want to continue play with ChatGPT, please do it after the session. I know you're still trying to crack it, get a wrong response, but yeah, we can resume it after the session. Let's wrap up the session. And this is the zero-shot learning. This is one of the popular learning techniques. There's in-context learning. So you provide certain context and you ask a logical question which the machine should be able to answer based on what it has learned so far. You would teach a kid what 2 plus 2 is and then 4 plus 4 is, but you don't have to teach the kid every number added with every other number. You teach the concept, you provide the context how to add up 2 numbers, and the kid should be able to come up with an answer if 2 different random numbers were thrown at them. That's the in-context learning. You provide the context and it should be able to learn the concept. Another example for this is like if you want to teach computer chess, how to play chess, you don't have to explain it what are different pieces. This is rook, million or lakhs of chess games that were ever played. Then the machines can see how the games are played, how the pieces are moving, and it can understand the pattern, how each piece should move, what is the rule, and then you can say that the game is over, and it can learn the whole rule book without you actually providing the rule book. So that is how some of the learning techniques would work. So this is in context learning, and this is a supervised learning. There are like human traces. Any of you remember data entry jobs? Data entry jobs, when there were like computers, there used to be jobs where you have to look at a bunch of papers and enter that data in the computer. So in the world of AI, in the realm of AI trainers do similar kind of job. AI trainers kind of trying to train the models with providing different data. So this is a supervised learning. The AI trainers is actually supervising the learning process. They provide both input data and corresponding correct output data, and they try to label it, and they try to correct when the machine mislabels it. So this is a kind of supervised learning. And unsupervised learning is where you provide a bunch of data, you don't label it, you don't ask it, like you don't teach it anything, but the machine can find patterns and learn it all by itself. So training a model on unlabeled data where only input data is provided, the classification is done completely by the machines. And semi-supervised learning is a mix of both learning techniques. We don't have to go in depth. Next one, please. And this is another popular learning model, which is reinforcement learning, where in an environment, human AI trainers would would provide all the input data, and it would get the AI responses and try to improve that responses. There is a variation of this called reinforced learning with human feedback, where where human trainers would take the AI responses, rank the responses based on the quality, and give it back as a feedback to the model. So you should also learn that know the term large language models. So large language models actually are trained in different concepts using these reinforcement learning techniques. So transfer learning, we talked about it. Next one. And why is ChatGPT so groundbreaking and powerful? It has learned what it has learned using these two techniques, supervised learning and reinforced learning with human feedback. Very interesting techniques. Machine learning engineers or data science engineers, you would be very interested. You want to learn these techniques. Yeah, and let's touch base on the risks of AI. Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft, he has put down his thoughts on what are the risks that are posed by AI and how we can manage the risks. So it's not completely hopeless, and we don't have to be threatened by this. This has happened before, and we have managed, and there are a lot of precedents for this kind of revolutionary technologies. Let's see what let's see what the threats in our minds are, and let's put them under themes and discuss the risks separately. So, what happens to people who lose their jobs to an intelligent machine? That's one of the existential questions. What happens to our jobs? Will the career landscape look the same the way it is right now? Right? Our education system is preparing us for the kind of jobs that are out there right now. But by the time you guys graduate, will the job market look the same, or do they expect something different? Or will there be any jobs left for us to do? So, what happens if people lose jobs to an intelligent machine? And could AI impact the result of an election? Right before the election day, what if there is a fake video of the politician saying something negative, and people before they even realize that it's a fake video, they can change their decision, vote the other way. So could AI impact the elections, results of an election, which would set the future for the remaining 5 years, right? The next 5 years. So could AI really impact the result of an election in a good way or a bad way? What if a future AI decides it doesn't need humans anymore and wants to get rid of us? What happens? This is one of the doomsday scenarios. What happens if it wants to get rid of all the humans, if it starts attacking? What happens to us? Yeah. Next slide, please. What if a super AI establishes its own goals? So the robo or the AI artificial intelligence learning new stuff, and it sets its own goals and make the students dumb. They'll not learn at the same pace. If there is a computer if there is a calculator to help you in math, calculations, people will not learn how to calculate. But that did not happen. That risk was managed. And when there are like online frauds happening, and Nigerian prince mailing you that he needs a credit card number in order to transfer some funds and you will be rewarded. Some people gave away their credit cards, right? So there's lots of such scams were there. Realize those are scams and they stop falling in the trap, right? Fraud that might happen with the new risks of AI can be managed too. There are like the safety guidelines when the electric cars came in, which can do over the air updates. Then the existing technology all was tailored for that purpose. And when the nuclear technology came in, we are still able to manage the risks, and we are still leveraging the nuclear power, the power generated by the nuclear fission, and still we didn't see a full-blown like nuclear war or destruction of humanity because of the nuclear stuff. And when the industrial revolution happened, lots of manufacturing jobs were lost, but different jobs, much better jobs, replaced those jobs which were lost. Next slide, please. So this is not the first time a major innovation has introduced new threats to be controlled. We have done it before. That's the good news. We can learn from what has worked in the past, and we can manage the risks for the new technology, and we can manage to do things better in the future. And many of the problems caused by AI can be solved by AI. We can leverage the power of AI to put safeguards in place, and with the AI we will have a lot more new jobs, and whatever advancements that we are doing, it will be at a much faster pace. Yeah, so let's put them under themes and see what are the countermeasures that we can take. Next slide. Yeah, so deepfakes and misinformation. This is something that we discussed before. There can be a fake video coming up of your child as if the child is kidnapped, and you might send money before you even realize that's a fake video and your child is actually safe at the school. So this is one of the risks, and misinformation could spread. Some celebrity talking something defamatory, and people might think that it's real video and the actual celebrity making those comments, but it might be a fake video generated by AI. And ransom attacks and cyber attacks are possible and easier with the new technology. Let's see what are the countermeasures that we can put in place. We educate people that don't believe what you see. It might be a fake AI generated video, and it can be the paradox here is you can use the AI to find whether a video is fake or AI generated or a real video. And as I've said before, OpenAI and the Intel Foundation, they have been working on these technologies which will detect deepfakes. And as I said, the governments need to sit together and come up with regulations on how to use UI, how to use UI responsibly, and make sure that it's not biased. Next slide, please. Yeah, and the other theme is AI taking away people's jobs. So one thing is like productive people get more efficient, and their jobs in turn become productive, and AI, the originality could be lacking. Let's say you are submitting an assignment which is like improvised by AI. which is reasonable use of AI, but still that's not your work. Like it doesn't reflect your true state of mind, right? The originality of the work might be lacking. For example, like right now, all the Hollywood Actor Association.
Here's example by currency.
Yeah, so right now all the Hollywood actors and technicians are in strike. Um, so next slide please. So the countermeasures of AI taking people's jobs. So certain jobs are irreplaceable. Yeah, so certain jobs are replaceable. You can't replace all the jobs, and as I said, like new jobs will be created with the new technologies, and world will advance at a much faster pace. And another risk is what if AI inherits all the biases that we have? Like when someone says doctor did the surgery, you might think it's a male doctor, right? You think doctor refers to a male gender, and you think like teacher refers to a female gender. It's a female teacher, right? So similarly, AI can inherit our biases and prejudices, and next slide, please. Yeah. So let me summarize that. There are a few final thoughts. Discuss like real thoughts, real problems that you are thinking of. But I would say the future is more optimistic. It's not as rosy as some might think, and it's not as gloomy as some might wonder. We can manage the risks of AI. We need to move fast. Even people are going to use the technology in a bad way. We have to move faster than them and put the safeguards in place. And there should be a collaboration between countries on how to use AI responsibly. And private sector should work safely and should not only try to maximize the profits. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah. We did. Okay, so one last final thoughts is like the job landscape, the career landscape is gonna look much different. I'll also like conduct a webinar on like how the job market is gonna look like, how to like get placed, how to crack interviews in the blue companies. So yeah, so there are certain risks that would impact the job market, but you can be prepared, you can manage the risks, and you can be prepared for the landscape that you will be facing. Yeah, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. That's my Gmail ID. If LinkedIn asks you for a prompt, you can find me on LinkedIn, Ravi Mandala. And yeah, I'll be available for any questions you might have after the session.
Good evening all. So on behalf of Department of Computer Science and Applications, I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to those who have involved directly and indirectly to this workshop. So first of all, I would like to thank our speaker, Mr. Ravi Kumar sir, for his presentation, and he has taught so many topics like introduction to AI, about ChatGPT, impact of ChatGPT to the world, like general physician, legal service, language translation, email, elementary, teacher, document summarizer, and many more. So now I would like to thank our Honorable Secretary and Correspondent Sir T. Srinivas Sir for arranging this workshop. I would like to thank our Principal Sir V. Narendra Sir for his enthusiastic support. I would like to thank our Intermediate Principal Sir Dr. Bhagykumar Sir for his supporting. I would like to thank Sri P. Ravindra Sir, Head of the Department of Computer Science, for organizing this workshop. Okay. So I like to thanks to the organizing committee, teaching and non-teaching staff for their support and coordination. So heartfelt thanks to our students and staff for active participation. So with these warm words and kind messages, we would welcome today's session. So thank you all.
థ్యాంక్ యూ నాకు ఒకసారి స్టూడెంట్స్ ఇక్కడ ఉండండి, మీతో మాట్లాడుతుంది. అలాగే మెంటార్స్ కూడా సార్ వాళ్ళతో పడాలని ప్రిన్సిపల్ చెప్పాలి. మెంటార్స్ అందరూ ప్రిన్సిపల్ ఛాంబర్ క్షమించారు.